Favorite book of the Bible? Great question. I'm going to go with Jonah. Jonah, the book of Jonah it's very short, if you want to take a look at it. That's not why I chose it. To some extent. What I love about it is that it packs so much in something so short. I mean, it's four chapters, it's 2.5 pages in my Bible, if you want to take a look at it. You know, it's really this is another thing that I like about it, is there's layers of stories in it, probably actually piecemealed over time, at least 2, from what I remember from seminary, that are kind of meshed together and made into one new tale. So you've got this kind of first part that most of us remember, that Jonah, this reluctant prophet, God asks him to go to Nineveh, and he doesn't want to do that. So he gets on a ship, and they find him, and the storm comes, and they throw him overboard, and he gets eaten by a fish, and spends 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of this fish and gets spit out. God says, go to Nineveh. He says, okay. You know, for all of us on a personal level, I think we all wrestle with listening to what we know our heart is telling us to do and not wanting maybe to do that. And especially people who go to seminary and clergy types, a lot of us resonate with this story because he's being called to something, and then he resists it, and he ends up in this dark night of the soul experience in this belly of a whale, and finally relents. But I think all of us have these moments or these times in our life like this. So the first part feels very personal to me about the human experience of listening to our heart, listening to what God is asking of us to do and what we know we should do, and the very human resistance to that. But this story also has a whole political layer too, because Nineveh is the capital of Assyria, and Assyria is the arch enemy of the Israelites. This is like go into enemy territory and tell them to repent. And so of course Jonah is reluctant to do this. I mean, who would want to? But the story takes a very interesting turn, because when he finally does do this, Nineveh repents, which of course never happens in the real world. This is it's satirical, and I think it's the best way to understand this. That the story is actually about Israel, not about the Assyrians. And so in the story, they say, oh, you're right. And what happens then? Jonah's not happy about it. And how human that is, of how much we say we want God to be compassionate, but really what we want toward our enemies is retribution, right? Justice. And that these people that have hurt his people and have been so brutal, what do you do with a God that's compassionate? And in fact, that's a line in it. He says, I knew you'd be compassionate. Jonah's just so mad at God. And so the irony of that and the satire there reveals this very true part of the human character and condition that we have to wrestle with. So I love that about it. At the end, God says, should I not be compassionate to these? There's 120,000 people here in Nineveh. And so it's this big theological question. So you've got this very personal thing at the beginning, a political overlay if you know that that's what's going on, and then this big theological question, which is related to this funny little piece in the story too, where Jonah, He's gone to Nineveh, he's tired, he's hot, and so God creates or grows a plant, I think a bush, if I recall, about to shade him, and he's thankful for that. But then God creates a worm to eat the plant, and so the next day the plant withers, and so he's back in the sunshine, and now he's mad about that. And this is the same kind of theological thing going on of the plant was a gift. He didn't earn it, and so God says, why are you mad about this? You didn't create the plant. So there's this deep underlying question in the story about life itself being a gift, and it's God's, and it's not ours, and it's not ours to say what can and should happen in the ultimate sense. And it actually ends that way. The last line is God's question to Jonah, should I not be compassionate to these 120,000 Ninevites? End of story. And I just love that. It leaves it for us to think about, and it really puts up a mirror, I think, to our human condition. So I will leave it there. That is my favorite book of the Bible.